I told people it was from a show, Black Mass. I misled people. It's called Midnight Mass. It's on Netflix, and they have a lot of recovery in it. And so it's a interesting story. But they talk about this thing, voice. So the voice they're trying to isolate the voice that speaks to the alcoholic about having the first drink. Yes. And so we want to be able to recognize that with the hopes that they could, by recognizing it and have an understanding, it would prevent it from happening. But the point is that which is trying to get out of self, those thoughts, is self. Yeah. So the best, any technique, to me, the best use of it is to see how it points to what you're not. Yeah. And the frustration, which is never brings about a clarity. Usually it's just more in frustration, because the self is just has a belief it can get out of self, because it doesn't see itself as that. Yeah. When it's seeing self, it doesn't see itself as self. That's interesting wording. Yeah. But it was that which was seen, and then suddenly it's the seer of that which was seen. So, all right, that which was seen was these thoughts drove me to a drink. So I'm going to use this technique, voice recognition, whatever, something. I forgot. I don't keep notes, but they have a 4-letter thing, and it's about this recognizing certain thoughts as sort of not yours. Not all the thoughts, and it doesn't talk about you being the thinker. That's sacrosanct. You can't go there. But so let's say little segments of thoughts aren't you. Yeah. And if you could see it from the implied you and see it as not you, maybe you wouldn't follow it. Yeah, sounds good. But it doesn't work, because that which gets recognized claims the recognition of it. It's not a thing. You don't see self. Yeah. It's the claiming of stuff. Yeah. So selfing is claiming things. And when you catch it claiming things, it claims that thing. Yeah. So a lot of people, they believe it's just them doing the claiming, and then they catch themselves and they figure that's enough. If I'm the one that's doing the claiming, I can stop doing the claiming. Yes. But that sense of being the one that can do or not do the claiming is the selfing. That's the point. Yeah. So the selfing gets noticed, the idea of self, and then it's mechanical activity triggers, and now the observing of that which you're not is now held as that which you're not as the observer. This is what I ran into, and this is what I see, a lot of futility when you were conveniently living in blissful ignorance. In a sense, you didn't know anything, so everything was going on, just like they say in AA that AA ruined my drinking, because now that what the drinking is doing and shit it takes the fun out of it a lot, because it was better when without knowing it, you could just fucking do whatever. But when it's pointed out, it becomes sort of a drag. Well, this thing is, when it's pointed out, it claims to be that which is pointing it out. Yeah. So the movement of selfing gets seen, and it turns into a carcass, and it moves into the claiming of the seeing of the carcass. So now you have self-knowledge, but it doesn't avail you anything, because it's not a self. It's a movement, a feeling of being an owner.
How was it?
Of something you don't own.
It's good.
Being
The
the owner.
patient loved the rains.
Can you
They
hear
were
me?
all still in bed. Nobody wanted to get up. Everybody just
Judy, drop that guy or whatever.
lazy.
So
Yeah, so that lady, I mean, she was out for a walk. Like, I get her to her room.
that,
They
yeah,
were wheeling her into a wheelchair.
Paul, I had to mute everybody to quiet that person, so you'll need to unmute, please.
all right, yeah, honey, thank you. So if you was, let's say, if you're in a deep hole and a ladder gets thrown down, a rope ladder, you want to pick it up, yeah, grab it, because you're in a deep hole. Now, if you see that action as part of the deep hole, that's real knowledge in a sense. So that which is meant to take you out of the deep hole is reinforcing that you're in the deep hole. This is like Ramana said, I'll say it as best I can, paraphrasing what he says in his teachings. Yeah. Because if you read, a lot of people wrote about Ramana Maharshi's teachings, and if you read a number of them, there's certain things that they all emphasize, yeah, because they were main points. And the main point is this, there's a presupposing, this is the trick of time, a presupposing. You know when you suppose something, it doesn't mean it's true or not, you just suppose it's open. Like you assume a store is open, you assume it so strongly that you don't call up to see if they are or not, and then you drive, and then you're sort of surprised when the doors are locked, but it says Saturday it's closed. Yeah, so your assumption, or you're supposing something wasn't so, and it led to what? It led to other situations. Yeah, so this is a pre-assuming or a presupposing. So as soon as there's a feeling of onness, that is claimed to imply you're the one that's on the body. Yeah, I do not believe you can get before this. I just can't see it. I just can't see that you, as a you, that's you are of the after, you are not of the before. You're said to be in the before, as Paul, but you are of the after. You are manufactured. So this assumption of this non-existent thing, which could be called all of us, yeah, there's an existence that's lighting up this thing, but the thing is not the light. Yeah. So we are like the bulb, and the I am is the light, yeah, or the electricity. Yeah, existence is lighting up this event and moving it and giving it. And then the head misunderstands that, doesn't recognize your nature, and claims to be a physical nature. You're an appearance. Yeah. And then from there on, everything is said coming from there and reinforcing there. Yeah. And you actually become the living reinforcement of this. And this is why it's so absurd, you trying to get out of it when you are actually the whole point of in it. Yeah. So the out becomes a bigger in, literally. Yeah. Because while you're trying to get out with all the shit, you're reinforcing this is this of what you're in, and you're not actually in it. That's the great news. Yeah. Just like that. You're not in it, actually. It only appears to be true. Yeah. And if something appears to be true and it ain't, it can also appear not to be true, because it doesn't have a truth. Yeah. It appears to be true, and then it can appear not to be true. When if there is a truth in us, you would be the I am. These people, some say, speak your truth. Well, there's no speaking it. What you are speaks louder than what you say, but the I am would be the truth, let's say. So that truth is that which finally sees the false evidence that was appearing real to be false evidence. Yeah. Now and this is the beautiful point of it. It keeps appearing real. Yeah. It's almost as if you and I were looking away, and we saw like an oasis, palm trees and shit, and gross. So we thought there's got to be water. And when we go there, there's no water. There was no palm trees, nothing. When you leave and you get a certain distance, you see the palm trees. Even though there are no palm trees, you went there. And when you got to the location, there was no palm trees. When you move away from it, an optical delusion, you see the palm trees, called the mirage. Yeah. So mirage doesn't disappear through your knowledge. It's optical. Yeah. So if you get a certain distance away from it, that which wasn't appearing starts appearing to you. Well, here you go. What is that distance? It doesn't have to look like a mile. You can be a mile away from something right next to you. Yeah, so this distance the head makes a mirage seem to be a real. Even though when you have evidence and you really got it, it's not real, it's going to appear to be real. So when you see through this event of dreaming, it doesn't stop the dreaming. The show goes on, yeah, because you're not the producer of the show, you're not the cause of the show, yeah, yeah. So the show goes on. See, I believed it was going to stop. I did. When I was listening to people and they said, get out of the dream, I thought I was going to get out of the dream. And either it would be a revised, much more upgraded dream, all about me and everything would go well, or something else. But I really believe it wouldn't look like it looks the way it looks now, because I want to get out of this. Yeah, this is it's not like I don't have any problem with a dream. It's this fucking dream I'm bothered about. Yeah, no one's listening to what I want them to do. So I want to get a more controlled and dream. Yeah. So I had that understanding. It was a misunderstanding. I did. And I had a lot of misunderstandings about what was my reaction or what was a mechanical reaction. There was a lot of owning of mechanical reactions where I was. Therefore, I was beholden to blind spots or just built-in programmable mistakes and took it personally, like I was doing that sort of on purpose, and that would make me bad if I'm bad. So you can break it down. If you want to have an understanding of dreaming and the meaning of given things, let's just use, you're sitting here with someone and they're afraid of being destitute, all right? Yeah, you know what destitute means. You have nothing and like that. Okay, so then you, instead of talking about the destitution, you say, well, what, how do you feel about that? Well, I feel if I'm destitute, no one's going to like me. Well, what does that mean to you? No one's going to like you. Well, I'm never going to be loved. Well, what does that mean to you? I'm never going to be loved. Yeah. Sooner or later, it turns into you're bad. Yeah. You did something that made you unlikable, destitute, and never able to be loved. It usually ends there. So you could take a situation that you're complaining about and just ask, well, what does that mean to you? Being destitute, especially most people who are destitute are not entertaining being destitute, they are destitute. It's a different story when you're actually living something than when you're thinking you're going to be it. So we're sitting in the lap of a certain luxury talking about destitution, and the person's completely flipped out, but they're not destitute. So obviously, as the Course would say, you're never upset for the reason you think. So you thinking it's destitution, it ain't. It's something else. So what does it mean to you? Well, destitution means I wouldn't have any money. What would it mean to me? I wouldn't be able to get what I wanted to get, and so what would that mean? Well, then I wouldn't be attractive to others. Why? You can't stand on your own 2 feet? No, but whatever. Yes, and you can bring it, and it can only go maybe 4 or 5 floors down, and then you get to the basement, which is I'm bad. Somehow you're morally sinning or something. And so here's this space that the head fills up with meaning. The top thing is destitution, but it fills it with meaning. But the fact is, space is infinite. Yeah. So no matter how much meaning you can't fucking paste over space. You'll run out of fucking meaning. Yes. And then you'll see what actually truly is not the space you're filling with meaning, but the meaning. Yeah. I mean, the space. Yeah. The space is it. These meanings are coming and going, coming and going. The space is like the screen in all the movies. So when people are flipping out about something, if you just sat down and sat with them and go, all right, what is it? Well, my boyfriend's leaving me. Okay, what does that mean to you? Well, I'm not attractive. What does that mean? Yes, on and on. And you get to it, it dies quickly. It does. Because usually it's just that reigns supreme. the person left me. It doesn't go any farther. But what's really the underlying oomph is has nothing to do with the person leaving. Yeah. So now you call up tons of people. Oh, the person left me, and you're on a fucking wild goose hunt. Yeah. So I don't know why I went there, but it's just probably that's why I'm voiding calls. I don't want to pick up calls and go into. Yeah. Well, this idea of what is it you know that you don't want to know? That's another nice one that works. So when someone's very confused about something, I just go, what is it that you know, which is of real clarity that you don't want to know. And the head's like doing the octopus thing. It's letting out the purple ink, to cloud its activities. Yeah. But if you just sit with the person and you go, what is it you know that you don't want to know? That it's a whack. Yeah. You know something, and then you realize your head doesn't want to know it. Wow, it's nice. Yeah. Instead of calling tons of people and going on fucking expeditions, I've got to get to the root of it. You're the root of it. There's no root of it out there. You're the root of it. You and I give everything all the meaning it has. Yes. So, all right. So back to this point, whatever it was. But it's helpful, really. It is a helpful little move. Because again, if you set out not to be destitute when you're not destitute, that's a little crazy. Yeah, it is. I mean, how rich can you get? You're afraid of not being rich, but you're doing that rich. You're rich already. Yeah. So the dreaming, I believe that was going to really change. It hasn't. It hasn't. No, not much. How I see it has changed, but the dreaming is getting pumped up. The program for this movie was a romantic comedy. After 40 years or 50 years, not going to really switch to a horror movie. Yeah, it may have some horror aspects, but it's basically the program of the movie is gonna be what plays out. Yeah, so to speak. And and many moments you'll be the only one in the audience that gives a shit, literally. So so I had these misunderstandings. I really did. I could not, I never questioned the starting point. I questioned where I was, and I questioned where I wanted to be. And I had great faith in all that, but I never really saw the starting point. Where do I start? And the thoughts begin, let's say. Yeah. There's something's going on. And when I was out there using, I had such a drive to experience being out of this thing called Paul that I actually overdosed on drugs, on coke, shooting it, with the hopes. I humbly believe that when the body was dying, there'd be like a 30-second relief from it all. Like I'd still be there, but I would be relieved, and it was worth it to me. It really was, and it was worth the consequences that would ensue when I came back out, because there'd always be cops in the room, and I'd be going to jail or something, or the hospital. But unbeknownst to me, that which wanted to get out of itself was not what I am. Yeah. And the understanding that was sorely needed wasn't another strategy to get out, was the recognition I'm not in. Yes, that was the point. That was escaping seemingly my activity until it caught up with me. And when I saw what I'm not in it, then I lost interest in all the ways of getting out. Yeah, yeah. Oh. And I'll tell you, relief is a great teacher. Relief. When you are relieved, there can be, it doesn't even have to be a spoken message, but you get a message. Yeah. And I humbly believe non-duality was the closest like fingerprints of what the relief was going to look like. Yeah. So by going over the non-duality understanding, I got it was the closest understanding to how it panned out, so to speak. Yeah. I didn't gain interest in some other dimension. I lost interest in me. Yeah. And I understood that me trying to lose interest in me is more interest in me. I saw the warnings, that I saw them in me and in others, yeah, that I had never seen before. That's why our message isn't about doing something or not doing something, is to recognize the mechanical claiming of the head, because no matter how great you're feeling, it's going to pull it off. It's going to claim it. It may be stunned for a little bit, but when it regroups, it's going to present you as the one who had that wonderful event. Yeah, the wonderful event was based on your own absence, actually. Yes, it is. Seriously, it is. It shows up and it sort of like photoshops itself into the absence. Oh, there I was. It doctors it all up to see you had a lot to do with it. But after you catch it a few times, the emperor has no clothes. That's truly a fact. It has no clothes. So no matter what it's wearing, if it's summer gear, fall gear, winter gear, spiritual gear, drug gear, uniform gear, no matter what, the emperor has no clothes. That to me has more lasting ability than the peak experience of the emperor has no clothes, because then you're fooled in an hour later. To have the understanding where you can see through all the clothing and have that convincing the emperor has no clothes. Yeah, I don't think it's a mental convincing. I think there's a convincing that doesn't have an unconvincing aspect to it. Yeah, in duality, I was convinced a lot of things, but in 5 minutes I was unconvinced. Yes. But this is a different type of convincing. I don't think it's convincing anyone. It's just a fact that's never not been a fact. Yeah. So it doesn't need to be constantly reviewed. It just hits you once maybe and says, hey, it's always been this way. Yeah. And then you're sitting there with all this stretch of time that you feel you've been here before and after, just completely neutralized. All the meaning that was given to it and everything, it's always been this way. Wow, that's incredible. So you can come to that recognition in a second of a moment here, that it's always been this way. The head would love to have that ability. It doesn't, so it just keeps yapping. It's gonna be always like this. Yeah, it's on and on and on and on. It uses repetition to make something that cannot be so to seem to be so. This isn't, repetition can happen in satsang, but the convincing isn't based on repetition. The convincing is a whack, and that's it. Yeah, blue is blue and red is red. Yeah. It was like I had that story I used to use a lot when I was young, 12 years old, in Long Island. One of the only mall I knew, there weren't that many malls then, was in Roosevelt Field in middle Long Island. And I would take a bus there because I was starting to, thinking I was cool and shit, 12 years old, meet girls and everything. And I had this outfit that I used to wear, and I thought I looked pretty cool before I left the house. And then while I was looking in all the windows of all the stores, and I got a lot of looks. So I thought, hey, this is working. So I milked it like a cow. So, and it was a pair of red corduroys and a beautiful gray long sleeve like t-shirt. So every week I saddled it up. The same outfit went to Roosevelt Field, man. And so after a few months, a friend of mine sat me down and said, Paul, and we would go into Roosevelt Field or something. He says, Paul, you know that outfit you constantly wear? I go, yeah, those red cords and those gray shirt. Yeah, they're not red and gray, bro. The pants are like magenta and the gray is pink, the shirt. And then suddenly I realized why everyone had been looking at me. And when he informed me of this situation, I got it. Never to see those pants as red and never to see that shirt as gray. I didn't have to go in every few months to see if they turned back. They were put away gray. They were pink and magenta. They've always been pink and magenta, and they were always going to be pink and magenta. Yeah. So this is sort of mimicking the message sort of a non-duality. Sometimes when it lands, sometimes it doesn't depart anymore. Yeah, and you find yourself in the tiger's mouth, and you're not going out. You're in the. You're going in. You're getting sucked into the intestinal tract, so to speak. So these things, they didn't leave me. They were there, and they become useful when you try to explain stuff. Because the misunderstanding is great and varied, really. When we take ourselves to be something that we're not, it triggers a lot of misunderstanding. And then you're supporting and reinforcing stuff. It would be better to sort of negate and let go if possible. Yeah. And your own interest is actually the jailer, so to speak. Yeah. Your desire to get out is the biggest end. Yeah, so none of this was true, and I wasn't hearing it. Maybe people talked about it. I wasn't hearing it. Usually, non-duality, the first few people was presented like everything else. You know, all you are is consciousness. Da, 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 da. I didn't feel like that. You know what I mean? I didn't feel like all I am is conscious, because the only way I would understand any feeling or thought was based in this, based on me being a long-lasting, independent, separate entity. And those thoughts weren't leading me to question that. They were leading me to question all I am is consciousness. You know, it just wasn't working. You know, you're the void or whatever. So fuck. But then the non-duality that was emphasized as negation, you know, so that works. That worked for me. Yeah. That's why yeah. Some of it, you can see it. One guy was a writer of it a lot, and I really liked him. Wu Wei. He's a little bit of a conceptual slog, so I don't think it's a good thing to present. But if you can distill it and shrink it and live it, so to speak, it's, to me, it's the clearest suggestions. Yeah, which is based on negating what's taken to be so, with the assumption that somewhere underneath it or around it or over it that is what's so. Yeah. So not neti, because neti can stop at you. So you're saying not this, not this, not this, but then it's you saying not this, not this, not this. You got to take it one step back and netify yourself, so to speak. Yes. And yet what happens if you go not this, there's going to be a claiming of something that said not yes. If you don't have that understanding, you're going to be bound to the now authentic you have discovered. And it's not an authentic you. You need to realize wherever you are, be it heaven or hell, the head has claimed it and it has presented you, let's say, as a flagpole. So you are now here seeing everything else. It's that flagpole can go, because that's still making infinite finite. Yeah. I mean, this is your playground and it stops here. That's not how it is. There's an infinite room where you don't, like Douglas Harding. I'm going to name some people I liked. Douglas Harding, on having never head, on having not having a head, was beautiful, where he would say, if you really look, you can't see yourself, and basically everything is just moving, what you call this, but where does it, it's not hanging off your like shoulders, it's gone. Yeah. Yeah. So there's nothing here in a way. Yeah. So these insinuations, the vague like hint of this taste, you're going to be the fulfillment of it. You are the taste that you've been looking for. So sometimes you just get a little bit of a taste or a smell of it, But then yeah, in that smell, there's the recognition of the whole fucking pie, so to speak. Yeah, because you're it, truly. In this case, this is not another something that you're gonna become and then get bored and want to become a better something. It's the end of the road. It's true. Yeah. The I am that I am, not the I am that being Paul. The I am that I am. Yeah. So when you land here, it isn't like you refuel and get clearer maps and then on to the 12th dimension. No, you disembark. And there you go. Wherever you landed, you're roaming around Nevada, wherever it is, doing whatever's going on, and basically there you have it. Yeah. Yeah. There's yeah. I didn't believe uh, that which was underneath me could ever stop because it seemed quite agitated. Yeah. And if it was here, it would see something missing and then make up a mythical there that it would like to arrive at. And when it arrived there, it was a here again, and so on and so forth. And it was never the son of man, man can never find a place to rest its head. It just goes on and on. And this really put an end to everything. It's pretty cool. I mean, I'm really in Novato, like completely in Novato. That would drive me crazy earlier. I would. And if I was completely anywhere, I'd want to get out completely, really fast. But I'm completely fucking in Novato all day, every day. And wherever I go, I'm here, there. And yes, it's just, there you have it. In this case, the mirage, I'm not expecting it to give me what it can't give me. Yes. I'm not trying to milk this mirage for things it doesn't have available. The mirage is a mirage, What are you gonna do about it? I don't think you can do anything about it. That would be part and parcel of a misunderstood reaction to the mirage. Yeah. And then seeing that, which I'd love, Paul has been dreaming to be somewhere, like to experience its own absence as the greatest. It's not going to happen. Paul goes down with the ship. Paul doesn't jump off the ship and then see it from afar. Paul and the ship, the hull and Paul are the same material. Paul can't swim far enough not to be the boat. It's like the loudspeaker of the boat. I know I can get off this boat. No, I know, but that's not knowing. That's a big whopper of a misunderstanding. Yeah. Yeah. So you are part and parcel of the mirage. You're not seeing a mirage, you're looking from a mirage. Yeah, you are. Nothing wrong with it. But this idea of, and this people are driven to be helpful, and it's great. It would be great if someone could see that thought as not, that string of thoughts are as not them. Yeah. But all the while, unbeknownst to them, they're seeing everything as the thinker. Yeah. Why not just see you're not the thinker, and then the meaning of these thoughts will lose a lot of weight. Yes. Because the thoughts are like a pickup. They don't have a delivery in and of themselves. They're loaded with a delivery. The thinker is where the meaning is coming to load into the thoughts. Yeah. It's the thinker that is the distributor of the meaning that the thoughts are going to bring to you in this life. And you're going to greet them as my thoughts. Yeah. You haven't seen the distribution center. You don't understand the supply chain. You don't. You think you can say yay or nay to the product, but you're a part of the product. Yeah. What are you going to do as part of a product? Maybe nothing. Just check it out. Because I mean, if people want to get out of themselves with spirituality, man, a lot of people just did had the same drive with drugs. They did. They were trying to get out of somewhere and go somewhere else and at least see everything from a different view. Yeah, I just think that view, no matter what that view is, it's either gonna be contained by this view of being the long-lasting, independent, separate thing, or it's going to revert back to that view very quickly. Yeah, in time, before you know it. Before you know it, coming out of that peak experience, it's already been claimed as you had the peak experience. Yeah, I don't see how you can beat it in time. Especially because you are it. I don't know how you're going to outrun you, or like how you're going to outrun your shadow if you're that which is casting the shadow. I just don't see it. So I found a peace that passeth my understanding. I did. I thought peace was going to have to be worked at and then maintained and polished and refined and, like keep filtering and get the better gold. Yes, constantly. I don't see it that way. I don't. No. So, yeah. So, yep. I don't know where we were. Where did we start today? At the Twilight Zone.
Going down.
Oh, yes. The idea of, it's nice if you read something like the Course in Miracles and they say, you and I give everything all the meaning it has, you should check it out. Let that hit. It's not like something you're supposed to read and try to grok here. It's the reading of it is like you're opening the door to it. Yeah, you're opening the door to the idea. That's all. And then see. And it says you don't have to concentrate. Just open the door to the idea and then look around and see, are you giving everything all the meaning it has? And then, you'll see what you'll get something probably from that. Yeah. And so that's the attitude to have. I'm just opening a closed door, so to speak, and let the idea in. So you and I are the dreaming of the dream. We forgot we're dreaming. Wow. How's that being facilitated? How could the dreaming forget it's dreaming? Well, I humbly believe by being identified as the dreamt. Yeah. So as soon as you're identified as the dreamt, you do not believe this is a dreaming event. You believe it's a real event. So now the dreamt does not believe it's dreamt. The dreamt believes it's real and it looks at all the other dreaming to be real. Yeah. So now the dreaming can forget that it's dreaming by being identified as a dreamt. And then it says that, then it says, what's going to happen? This is the interesting. Okay. Now, after you are giving everything all the meaning it has, is now taken to be the dreamt. Now you're giving everything all the meaning it has to to have an effect on you. So now you have an ass that it can bite. Yeah. What? Oh, yeah. So you give everything all the meaning has, and now as the dreamt, you're giving things the meaning to have an effect on you. So thoughts claimed as yours, then the thoughts own you. Isn't that the case? Were you owned by thoughts when you were a baby? I'm sure certain thoughts were coming in, but there was no mitt to catch it. And there was not a mitt to throw for the next one, yeah, and play ball with it. Was there? There was no, just, I'm sure the system was cranking out some thoughts sooner there. But this, the effect didn't occur until the idea of being the thinker, yeah, and the thought about started distributing tons of meaning. Yeah. So now a thought can ruin someone's day. And even then, it's still isolated because it can't ruin your day. It's not like one person's day ruined by a thought and the whole county of Marin's day gets ruined by a thought. No. Could you imagine that? It could. I mean, the infection could grow to a gargantuan size. That could happen. One fucker somewhere in, Petaluma could be thinking, this sucks and it sucks for everyone. So, if you and I are giving everything all the meaning it has, and there's been a meaning given to us as being real, then we're basically at the event horizon of false evidence appearing real. And I don't mean the false evidence that's appearing real to us, but we are false evidence appearing real, as is. The non-existent thing appearing to be an existent thing is false evidence appearing real. How is that going to know the truth from the false when it doesn't even know the truth from the false where it's sitting? Now, is this going to bring you knowledge? No, you lose interest in it. You will lose interest in tinkering or trying to rehab or renovate a failed system. You just fucking lose interest in it. And maybe your ear will pick up a different tune or a different intimation or the next intuitive drop or something like that. And you'll start the Pied Piper you've been listening to, you'll pick up another Pied Piper, so to speak. Yeah, because you realize, as we say in recovery, why are you in so much fear today? Why are you and I in so much fear today? We'd have to have a lot of coffee if we let each other talk about that. Be here for hours and hours. But he says, isn't it because self-reliance has failed us? What an incredible diagnosis. Yeah. You're not listening to one person's misunderstood take on what's going on. You just immediately, this is the point. Yeah. Why are you in so much fear today? Oh, we beg to differ. Stop your story. Isn't it because self-reliance has failed you? What? Yeah. How about fit that in and see if that fits better? Self-reliance. Well, then what is self-reliance? Well, reliance on self. Yeah. What would be an extreme version of reliance on self? Being identified as self. You're so relied on it, you call it you. That's not going to bode well, having your life directed by a failed system. You're going to have a lot of grievances and resentments and blaming others and rationalizing and everything. Like, a lot of that's going to go on. Yeah. So you'll blame it on Novato. It's Novato that sucked. Well, first it was Burlingame, then it was Amityville and Rockville Center. I've been to a lot of sucking places. Maybe I have something to do with it. Oh, yeah, who knows? All right, well, I'm so happy to be here. I find the power of understanding has been very influential in this life. When I understood why I was fucked drinking and using, with the helps of listening to people that weren't me, these guys, Joe and Charlie, they're passed away now in recovery, and other people who were my sponsors, like Cy P and Frank B. I really felt a lot of value came from my understandings being corrected, or the understanding being corrected. I did. So I have a lot of faith, and I put a lot of value in understanding. And I think this is what non-duality is. It's an understanding that emphasizes the misunderstandings that you've been run by, let's say, yeah, or that there's been a holding on to. And through it sort of brings into stark contrast shit that you just look like another thread in the fabric of my existence. It sort of brings it into, illuminates stuff, and you start seeing that which was before all the actions and reactions was an understanding that was off. And then non-duality explained a whole lot in very small sentences. That's the beauty of it. To me, the greatest encapsulation and transferring of meaning is understanding. Understanding can go a long way. Yeah. And so non-duality to me is a potent understanding that you can get a shot from. Yeah. Yeah. And what it will do, it will bring out the stuff that's been going on without us knowing it. And then there you are. You are the light that reveals what's going on in your own life. not it's not your life, but in life. And those understandings have been the clearest ones I've ever run into, especially with the idea of negation, the clearest understandings I've ever heard. Yeah. And which produced the most effect, because I think they're actually true. Yeah. I think they're rooted in what could be called the truth of I am, before Paul and Bill and Sue and everyone else, Mir is added. And so humbly, we're just attempting to have the satsangs with hopefully putting out the same understanding. And so that you can see the misunderstandings and greet it with not you. Yeah. Yeah. Then there'll be a loss of interest in it. And you'll get away from the system's ability to trap you, because you won't try to lose interest in it as the system. You'll lose interest in it out from outside the system. You're not looking at it for Paul, trying to get an advantage for Paul. You're looking at the both Pauls, yeah, and losing interest in them. Yeah, so there you go. The garage is still open, and the cafe will open as soon as the garage gets closed. Cafe opens. Not bad. All right, Judy, anyone has anything?
I found those recordings you mentioned, Paul, of Joe and Charlie. They're on YouTube.
Yes.
They're
great.
wonderful.
Yeah.
I've listened to some of them. Yeah, it was really great, really entertaining too, really witty, really fun.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good way to give the shot with a little wit.
Yeah, they're really accessible and entertaining and heartfelt.
They really did it. They helped me a lot when I came in. I went to see them in my first year of sobriety, and went for 2 more years, once a year in Sacramento. Then I had it. See, this is the beauty. Sometimes you don't keep, there's feeding and then digesting. You know, it's not feeding all the time. You feed, and then it's time to digest. So you're now walking around and you're digesting what you were fed, and then see what works, see how it works. So I don't think about them all the time, but I have a great honoring of them. Yeah, they did a job with me, for sure. I saw people enthused about being sober, first of all. It's like 500 people there. I didn't know any of them. And they were excited about being sober, not fucking dragging their feet in and this sucks. Like, it was great getting loaded and shot at, by the cops. Oh, this sucks, flaming and all this. He's just complaining. They were jacked up. And I mean, something got in me. A lot of got in me there. And it took me a long way. So I'm more forever grateful for Joe and Charlie.
Yeah, they're very captivating speakers.
Yeah, and it was a trip. They had this one thing that was so wild. They had this log, a log from a ship, an old ship where they write down what's going on. And they had an old like schooner from the 1700s or something. And the first order was like bananas, 500 this, and then like 50 kegs of rum. Yeah. And so they have all this food, and then they're on this trip, and then they run out of stuff. They've got to go in. Now they get less bananas, less other fruit, 100 things of rum. As they go on, they forego all the food and they just get rum. So they were just fucking drinking all fucking day. This is, do you know, in America, when in the old days, there was just big things of beer. People were drunk all day, working in the field. They would just get drunk all the time. So, uh, the head that we find ourselves in has a drive. Something in us wants to go unconscious. Yeah. We want to be blotto. We want to be out to lunch. That's why you still watch Die Hard 11 after you know the first 10 or last 9 sucked. You just the head wants
Escapism. Yeah.
it
Yeah.
wants to be unconscious constantly. With this story, I want to be conscious. It has no desire to be conscious. It wants to be unconscious. So it was so funny just to read these things where they just forgoed fuck scurvy and shit. Who cares? Bring in the rum. I thought that blew my mind when they did that at the. They used to do it every year. That story, it was great. They had the whole evidence of this is what was happening back then. Oh, well, why would you think that which is driven to be unconscious is going to sign on for your joy, your giant adventure of super consciousness? Yes, the head has no interest in it.
Wow. Wow. True.
It has a different drive, unbeknownst to us. Yeah, so this is just freedom from that, not as it. Freedom from it, not as it. And the freedom from it is not well earned. It's already guaranteed. You're not it. This is not something you acquire, or it's not a meritocracy. It's you've never not been what you are. And this is just a passing mirage upon a mirage, and it's going to end. Yeah, in time. People I know that were at these talks are not here anymore. Z, they passed away. Jim Cook passed away. People who I came to admire and really like, they passed away as this appearance. Yes. Did what they were based on ever pass away or ever come? No, it was always so. And you knew it and they knew it. So they went out in style, in a sense, at least. Yes. I remember Z loved Nisargadatta Maharaj. So some of my friends here used to read Nisargadatta when he was in his deathbed, and he was getting the same amount of joy from it than when he was reading it when he was younger. Yeah, he just yeah, it's incredible. And then he had the mercy of his head. I'd go there, and he was telling me he beat his son-in-law in 2-3 in a tennis match, and I was thinking, what, table tennis? He can't get. And then I realized he was in a dream. He was just dreaming. He says, "Oh, Paul, I'll meet you at the airport tomorrow. We're going." I go, "Yeah, see, I'll see you at the airport. You need a ride and everything." He wasn't going anywhere. He's in his hospital bed, but his head gave him some mercy. Yeah. Oh, see, stop that. No, fucking jeez. I hope we all go out with an artistic, flamboyancy. Yeah.
When you say he was reading the Sargadatta, do you mean, is it that book, I Am That?
Yes, he had his friends read it. He couldn't read anymore.
All right.
So he used to, yeah, it would be a nice way. And yeah, he knew the presence of Z was not the Z that wasn't going to be present. He knew that. He knew the presence of Z was not the present that wasn't going to be present. Yeah. Not the Z. Yeah. So, yeah. I hope it just brings a traveling lighter for everyone. I mean, Jesus Christ. That's all I really wish for. I mean, we make up so much shit. You know, it's enough to run through a day. I'm lucky today. I feel healthy physically and stuff like that, and that gives me the leeway to just fucking really be chilled. But the amount of mountains we make out of molehills is just yeah. I come from the community of recovery. It can be very disheartening because of the resistance that gets thrown up, and you know what it's going to be like behind that resistance. You can be a soothsayer, you can tell the person's future, if they are a real addict or a real alcoholic, without addressing that elephant in the room, it's going to suck up all the air. So, yeah. All right. Anyone, Judy,
No hands up currently.
currently? All right. Well, I'm going to take advantage of that. And
There you go.
I'm going to say goodbye. Eric in Vista. Mike Clark, somewhere in Mexico, seemingly. Axel. I hope you're clear now, Axel, right? With Amelia? Great. Moochie Facet. Yeah. See, the funny thing is, Joe and Charlie seem to have left, but what was left behind is the spirit of Joe and Charlie. Not bad. Yeah,
Yeah, really, really good stuff. Yeah,
great.
yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Thanks
Chris-
for recommending them.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome. I try what's worked with me, I try to share. Except for my horror movie things. I'm tired of people never listening to my fucking suggestions when it comes to horror movies. So you have to find out yourself what's good. But if you ask me, I'll tell you.
Well, you can't beat The Shining, right?
Oh yeah, Shining's up there. Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Hey, Paul, I listened.
Christy, yes. You see, you saw one and then the other. Matt J.
Hey, Paul.
Yeah. If you see the claiming once or twice in the same sequence, it's pretty. If it's more than once, it's going to have a lot of value. Yeah. So you see that which was unobserved as observed, and you see the observer of that is neither of those of you. Yeah. Yeah. It's nice. Finally. Matt J. Nice to see you, Matt. Yes. Kendra McQueen. James Olson, one of the brothers of the Allen and James Olson gang. Yes. The gang that's never going to get it. That's pretty good. I like that. J.A. Did you get in touch with Martin, Jay?
Yeah, I've been talking. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. I was talking to him. There's some videos up. You're famous on YouTube now, man. You didn't get the check yet?
No.
Oh, the millions are coming.
Okay, thank you. I think I'll be rich until I get rich. Yes. I'll be rich already. Mika from Finland. Vlad, Portugal. Not for long, Vlad. We'll be seeing each other in Pescara, Italy. I got Chris. You're gonna have to take care of Chris for a week or so. It's all right. You got to feed him twice a day. Make sure he has water. There you go.
Okay.
He comes when he's called. It'll be good. Yeah. He's a good boy. Kathleen, oh, a lovely sky behind you, Kathleen. Annette. Nice to see you, Annette. Dennis W. Zoe Banks. Zoe, wow, you've had an incredible transformation from last week. Wow, incredible. I think I like this Zoe Banks than the others, more the other. Who knows? Michael Buford from Georgia. Nice to see you, Michael.
Nice to see you, Paul.
Zen La, I'll have Zen. We will, I think you sent me something. Amelia will talk to you about Italy. She knows that's her hometown. She'll let you know if you want to come, what's going to happen. I'm in the dark, actually, myself. Who is this? Anja, A-N-J-A. Nice to meet you, Anja. Walter? Holly? Andre? Brian? Ben? Mike M? Mike is going to be in Italy. Hey, Mike, don't bring the boogie board.
It's pretty
not-
flat there, right?
Yeah, you're not gonna need it there.
All right. Gotcha.
Just bring your Speedos.
Oh, are you kidding? I got 10 of them on deck.
Oh, good, because I've entered you in a Speedo contest there.
All
If you
right, let
don't
me get in
mind.
shape real quick.
Yeah, get a Brazilian. Oh
We're gonna have fun.
yeah, it'll be
Oh
nice.
man.
That's funny. Lindy, Alan Olson, we got it. Jules.
Actually, it's horrifying.
Steve Logan, phone number, Albert Roth, Brian, I see, Andre. Hey, thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming and holding the space. It's always a pleasure to get together at the garage.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you.
Yeah. See garage, laundromat, dog shit awareness. You see the yes. See the meaning in it all. Garage, laundromat, behind someone's building when they not know they're there, squatting. Satsangs isn't affected by where you have it. Yeah. All right, Steve Logan. Hey, thank you, everyone. If I missed you, I'll hope to see you soon. We'll be back on what's today? Monday? No, Tuesday. Wow. Yeah, it's all on the Zen Bitch Slap on the event page. Oh, Holly Aber, I actually see you live there for a second.
Hi, Paul. Thank you.
Always a pleasure, honey. Thank you. And Michael Buford. All right, yeah. If you want, it's on the Zen Bitch Slap. It's on the event page, all the Zooms. There's no password necessary. The room is usually opened up like 10 minutes before the time of the meeting. So thank you. See you. Bye-bye.